Have you ever found yourself drawn into a situation, maybe a relationship, that started with something just so completely ordinary?
Uh-huh.
A simple everyday kind of occurrence, but then it just spiraled into something, well, extraordinary
Yeah.
and intensely personal.
It's a fascinating thought, isn't it? The unexpected ways connections can form.
Exactly. Especially when life throws a curveball,
Yeah.
something nobody sees coming, just completely out of left field.
Yeah.
Welcome to a deep dive, where we're pulling back the curtain on just such a narrative.
Yeah.
It's a story where a seemingly mundane event, honestly, something almost comical,
Right.
it opens the door to this profound, unspoken, and ultimately clandestine connection.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we're really dissecting a fascinating, very intimate account. It was shared with us from a YouTube transcript. And we're exploring the quiet evolution of a relationship that just absolutely defied expectations.
And delving into the details, the specifics that make it so compelling.
Exactly.
And our mission today really is to try and unearth the subtle psychological shifts happening here, the deeply personal vulnerabilities that get exposed, and, well, the inevitable consequences that unfold when two people find this unexpected intimacy.
In a shared, secret world.
Precisely. We'll trace this whole compelling narrative right from its, frankly, bizarre inception.
Yeah, the raccoon. We'll get there.
We will, where this simple act of helping out just created this unprecedented opening, all the way to its poignant, quiet end.
And through this journey,
We're seeking to understand what this story reveals about, human connection itself, that profound longing we all have for understanding, and the true, often hidden cost of desires that have to remain secret.
right,
And we'll be paying really close attention to how the specific, vivid details in the account, they craft this emotional hook.
yeah, they really draw you in.
They immerse you, the listener, right into the heart of the experience. You don't just hear it, you almost feel the progression of this, well, extraordinary bond.
Okay, let's unpack this then.
Ooh.
Our story begins with a guy named Ryan. He's 25, young guy, navigating early adulthood, just, chilling in his apartment.
Pretty standard stuff.
Totally standard. It's a Thursday evening, probably after work, and he's just, living his best life, halfway through reheating some leftover pizza.
Classic.
A classic, completely unremarkable moment.
Mm.
And then his phone buzzes. Unknown number,
The dreaded unknown number.
right? And he almost lets it go to voicemail, which, let's be honest, most of us would do.
Totally.
But as he tells it, and this is where we get that first little hook,
Mm-hmm.
he says, "Something told me to answer." Now that right there, that's intriguing, isn't it?
It is. It hints at something more, like fate or just intuition.
Yeah, some inexplicable, almost subconscious pull, a gut feeling that something significant is about to happen, even before anything is actually, materialized. It sets this tone of intrigue.
Right from the start.
So he answers, maybe a little hesitant,
Mm-hmm.
and a woman's voice says, "Ryan, it's Marissa, Aaron's mom."
Okay, so he knows who she is, but maybe not well.
Exactly. Total surprise for him. Aaron is his friend, somebody knows maybe through classes or shared interests.
Right.
And Marissa is simply Aaron's mother. Familiar, but kind of a distant figure. Certainly not someone he'd expect a frantic call from.
Yeah.
And right away, Marissa is apologetic, almost frantic. Her voice is a little higher than usual, strained with exasperation.
Okay.
She says, "Sorry to bother you. I wouldn't call if it wasn't weird." So the strangeness is established immediately.
Guess the stage.
And then comes the crisis, just delivered in this rush of words. "There's some kind of animal in the basement.
Oh, boy.
It's making a ton of noise, and I have no idea what to do." Her voice is clearly, on the verge.
Kind of losing it.
Yeah, she actually admits that. I'm kind of losing it. Pushed past her breaking point by this domestic invasion.
And the animal is.
A raccoon. She finally managed to get that out. A raccoon?
Right. Not exactly a mouse.
No. So Ryan's just blinking.
Yeah.
Trying to process this bizarre request. He's unsure if he's suddenly been drafted into pest control.
Yeah, like, is this my job now?
Or if it's some kind of weird prank.
Uh,
But despite the absurdity, he doesn't hesitate.
okay.
Without really thinking, he grabs his keys and says almost automatically, "I'll be right over."
Just steps up.
Yeah. So he pulls into their driveway, which is familiar to him, right? But there's this sense of quiet urgency hanging in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Marissa's already outside, pacing on the porch. Her movements are kind of small, agitated, like she can't stand still but doesn't want to draw attention.
Right, that contain panic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And her appearance, it adds another layer of vulnerability, makes her immediately relatable. Her hair's pulled back, loose ponytail, kind of messy, strands escaping around her face, which is etched with stress.
Okay.
She's wearing an oversized sweatshirt, leggings, running shit. Like she was caught completely off guard.
Mid something casual.
Yeah, maybe a workout, maybe just lounging. And her face, her whole expression, it just visibly eases when she sees him pull up.
The cavalry has arrived.
Totally. The tension just seems to drain from her shoulders as he approaches. Thank God, she says. It's a genuine sigh of relief.
Yeah.
And it's accompanied by this small half laugh, Sorry, she says, I know this is not exactly what you signed up for when you became friends with my son.
That little bit of self-awareness, even in the panic.
Right, and that immediate vulnerability, that half-laughing apology, it creates this immediate bond.
It's not formal at all.
No, it's a shared moment of relief, a burden momentarily lifted. It forges this connection rooted in immediate, unvarnished human need.
And what's truly fascinating here, if we, dig into the psychology a bit,
Yeah.
is how this urgent, slightly absurd domestic crisis served as such an unconventional yet really powerful meet cute.
Right. It's not coffee shop awkwardness.
Not at all. This bypassed all the typical social barriers we usually put up in those first interactions. There was no pretense, no small talk about the weather, no carefully curated first impressions.
Right. Straight to the raccoon.
Exactly. Straight to this bizarre emergency, forcing an immediate, raw, and very human interaction.
Yeah.
And this kind of shared minor adversity, where one person steps into a savior role and the other is vulnerable.
Is powerful.
It's incredibly potent for accelerating trust and bonding. Marissa, caught off guard, stressed, she wasn't performing, she was just herself in need.
And Ryan responded.
Without hesitation. This immediate authenticity built on this shared, slightly absurd problem, it lays a really powerful foundation.
More than just being neighborly.
Oh, much deeper than just Aaron's friend helping out. It creates this unique initial layer of trust and shared experience. It taps into almost primal instincts, protection, relief.
So it's a compelling hook for whatever follows.
Absolutely. And Ryan, despite his initial surprise, he handles it with this remarkable calm and efficiency.
He does seem pretty capable.
He heads down to the basement, guided by the scratching and thumping sounds. Marissa, even in her distress, is thoughtful. Hands him a headlamp, thick leather gloves. And then comes this perfectly human, almost funny detail that just cuts through the tension.
Oh, yeah?
She says, eyes wide, mixture of fear and genuine concern. Just promise me one thing, don't get rabies.
Huh, right. That's great.
And Ryan, with this lighthearted but reassuring tone, replies, I'll do my best.
Adds personality, humanizes it.
Totally. It subtly strengthens their connection in that moment of shared, nervous humor.
So he goes down there.
Navigates the dimly lit, cluttered basement, spots the raccoon, and actually, with a surprising knack for pest control,
He gets it out.
gently coaxes it out a window with a broom handle. The whole thing's over surprisingly quickly, leaves them both a bit disheveled but relieved.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Raccoon resolved.
Raccoon resolved.
And when he comes back upstairs, hands dusty but clearly triumphant,
The hero returns.
Marissa, immediately, without a word, hands him this tall glass of ice-cold lemonade.
Ah, the reward. Simple, but meaningful.
Exactly. It's a simple gesture, but it feels loaded with meaning.
You're a lifesaver, she tells him. Her voice is softer now, laced with genuine gratitude. They just kind of naturally gravitate to the back porch. Quiet, domestic space.
Yeah.
The air there is still, gentle breeze, birds chirping, distant dog bark. You can picture it.
Decompressing after the crisis.
Yeah. And as they sit there, the visible stress just seems to drain completely from Marissa's shoulders. She visibly relaxes, her posture eases.
The adrenaline dump.
Totally. And in this calm, unforced atmosphere, personal details start to emerge, naturally. No awkward prodding.
Okay.
She mentions Aaron's away on a ski trip, which explains why he wasn't there for the raccoon invasion.
Got context.
And how she'd actually been trying to clean the basement when the furry intruder showed up.
Ah, the irony.
Brian observes her dry sense of humor, the way she talks with her hands when she gets animated. Even a brief, nostalgic mention of her college volleyball days.
Little glimpses of who she is beyond mom. Exactly. It's not a ton of info, but it's enough to paint a picture, to humanize her. And Ryan's subtle observation, looking back on that day, is absolutely key.
What's that?
He says, that day ended without anything happening. Just conversation, just lemonade, but something stuck.
That feeling.
Yeah. That lingering sense that something significant has begun, an emotional resonance that settled in, even if you couldn't quite articulate it yet.
The first quiet ripple.
Precisely. The first quiet ripple of what will eventually become a wave.
Okay. So the immediate crisis is over, but that something stuck feeling lingers.
Right. And after the whole unexpected raccoon adventure, a subtle, almost imperceptible pattern starts to emerge between Ryan and Marissa.
Okay. How so?
It starts innocently enough.
Yeah.
Marissa would wave whenever Ryan came by Aaron's house, maybe a little more warmly than before.
Acknowledging that shared experience.
Exactly. Sometimes, if Ryan happened to be there, maybe waiting for Aaron or just stopping by, Marissa would just casually, almost shyly, ask for small favors.
Mundane things.
Totally mundane. Things like, hey, Ryan, could you help carry something down from the attic? My back's been acting up.
Plausible deniability.
Right. Or, this window's stuck again. Could you take a look? Aaron's useless with these things. Or, I can't quite reach that box on the top shelf. Mind giving me a hand?
Always practical, seemingly innocent.
Domestic tasks that made perfect sense for a younger, stronger person to help with.
Makes sense.
And the exchange, after these small acts of assistance, it almost immediately settled into this quiet, comforting ritual.
Okay.
After he helped, she'd always offer him leftovers.
Oh.
Always. Saying it was because she made too much.
Ah, the classic made too much.
Yeah, maybe with a slight blush, like she needed to justify the gesture. It was this quiet, domestic rhythm. Seemed harmless, platonic on the
A
surface.
simple exchange. Kindness for a meal.
But beneath that surface,
Yeah.
something else was quietly starting to stir.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, psychologically speaking, this section beautifully illustrates that slow, almost imperceptible buildup of emotional intimacy. It happens through these shared practical tasks, and then the exchange of eventually more personal stories.
So it wasn't just about fixing things.
No. Ryan's initial perception, as he noted, was just casual help, a neighborly thing.
Right.
But he later realized, looking back with this profound clarity, it was like something was slowly waking up in both of us.
That dawning realization.
Exactly. This transformation from simple kindness to something deeper is central here. It's a classic example of how frequent, low-stakes interactions can lower barriers, create comfort.
Fertile ground.
Precisely. Fertile ground for deeper bonds to sprout.
And what about Aaron in all this?
Ah, yes. What's particularly revealing and what highlights the sort of nascent clandestine nature of their interactions is the recurring detail of Aaron being completely oblivious.
Right. He's never around for these moments.
While Ryan and Marissa are engaged in these quiet, shared activities, changing a light bulb, fixing a cabinet, moving boxes, Aaron is always in the background, out of sight, out of mind.
How does the narrator put it?
The narrative paints him as upstairs gaming with his headset on, or blasting music from behind a closed door.
Creates a bubble.
Exactly. This physical and auditory separation, even if it wasn't intentional at first, it created a private space for their connection to deepen, a quiet bubble where they could interact without outside scrutiny.
So the exclusion of Aaron, even unintentionally.
It subtly but steadily made their interactions increasingly clandestine, which, for you, the listener, makes you more curious about how these small, intimate exchanges, framed as just favors, are going to escalate.
And the food thing. Always feeding him.
Yes. Marissa always insisting on feeding Ryan afterwards, sandwiches, pasta, grilled fish, and justifying it by saying it was the least she could do.
It feels like more than just thanks.
It subtly reinforces this nurturing relationship that's forming. It moves way beyond simple gratitude. It becomes this quiet act of care, almost domestic in its intimacy.
Blurring the lines.
Definitely blurring the lines of platonic help.
And as this rhythm continues, the favors, the shared meals, she starts sharing more.
She does. Marissa slowly, carefully, begins to reveal deeper, more profound personal details.
But not all at once.
Never an information dump, never oversharing. It was woven naturally into their quiet conversations, like threads of her life being laid bare.
Building trust.
Exactly. She had a way of sharing just enough to create this sense of intimate trust without ever feeling like she was burdening him.
What kind of things?
She told Ryan that Aaron's dad had passed away a few years ago, a quiet acknowledgement of a huge loss.
Wow.
And how hard things had been after that. The grief was deep, pushing her to start working more hours just to keep from thinking too much.
A coping mechanism?
Speaks volumes about her resilience, but also her pain. Then there was the detail about her daughter, Melanie. Just finished grad school, moved all the way to the East Coast.
Leaving a void.
Leaving a quiet void, perhaps. She spoke of her father, a classical guitarist, a man of art and music.
Oh, wow.
Who was slowly losing his memory to Alzheimer's. A really poignant reflection on time, loss of connection,
Heavy stuff.
and then a very specific, almost tender detail. A long ago shoulder injury from a volleyball tournament in Spain.
That still bothered her.
Still ached when it rained, like a physical echo of a different past, maybe freer, more athletic.
And Ryan's response to all this heavy sharing.
Simple, but profoundly powerful, as he recounted. And I just listened.
Didn't try to fix it.
No. This highlights his quiet, attentive nature, which is crucial for fostering the kind of deep trust and vulnerability this relationship needed.
Just being present.
He didn't interrupt and offer advice. He just provided this non-judgmental, accepting space for her to be seen and heard.
That's huge, psychologically, right?
Invaluable. When someone shares vulnerable details, they're often testing the waters, seeking validation, empathy. Ryan's quiet presence signaled safety.
Allowing her to be more than just mom.
Exactly. Allowing her to peel back layers of her masked self. She was likely yearning to be seen as Marissa, bright, funny, complex, wounded beyond those roles.
And his listening facilitated that.
This reciprocity of vulnerability, one person shares, the other truly listens, it's a cornerstone of deepening emotional connection, moving them far beyond that initial helper dynamic.
Okay, so the connection is deepening. Trust is building. Then we get to what the narrator calls the shift.
Yes, a pivotal moment.
So one afternoon seems ordinary. Ryan's helping Marissa transplant lavender plants near the side fence.
Grounded in sensory details again?
You can almost feel it. The soil was dry, and we were both down on our knees, hands dirty. The smell of earth, lavender.
Roots the moment physically, makes it real.
They're working side by side, absorbed in the task. Marissa leans over, brushes a stray strand of hair from her folds. And as she does, her dirty fingers leave this faint streak of dirt across her cheek.
A small human detail. Endearing.
Right. A minor imperfection that makes her more real. And Ryan's response, he says, was instinctive, unthinking.
What did he do?
He chuckled softly and then reached out instinctively to wipe it off with my thumb.
Just a natural gesture of care.
I'm calculated.
And that's where the transformation happens.
Yeah. Her reaction.
Immediate and telling. She froze just for a second. That brief hesitation, the world holding its breath.
Okay.
Then their eyes locked. Our eyes locked, he tells us, and then she smiled. Small, unsure, but real.
That smile.
That tiny, hesitant smile emerging after the freeze is everything. It signals the breakthrough, the mutual recognition.
Psychologically, what's happening there?
It's not just attraction, though that's likely part of it. It's a nonverbal affirmation, a subconscious yes to the unspoken longing that had been building. A moment of limerence, perhaps, where the emotional charge just palpably shifts.
And Ryan recognizes it instantly.
Yes, he
Yeah.
describes his immediate visceral recognition. That was the first time I saw it. The shift. The moment the air between us thickened with something more than just friendly favors and shared dinner plates.
An unmistakable feeling.
Palpable, almost electric. Which raises an important question for us, How do we recognize these critical turning points in relationships? Especially when they define norms or expectations.
Yeah.
This segment is a prime example. A small, seemingly innocent physical gesture unlocks this torrent of unspoken emotion and recognition.
Creates an undeniable hook for the listener.
Draws you right into their internal world, the transformative power of a single moment. It's a silent mutual acknowledgement that they were standing on the precipice of something new.
Dangerous. maybe.
Dangerous, but also undeniably compelling.
And as if to confirm this unspoken shift, later that same day, as Ryan's getting ready to leave, there's this lingering intimacy in the air. Marissa's by the sliding glass door, quiet silhouette against the fading light. And she tells him, very directly, voice soft but firm, "You've been really good to me, Ryan."
Acknowledging it.
He tries to dismiss it, maybe out of habit or discomfort. It's nothing.
Deflecting.
But she corrects him, immediately, firmly, her gaze holding his significant tone. It's not nothing.
Wow. That's direct.
A quiet, yet undeniable affirmation, acknowledging the growing weight, the importance of their connection, an explicit recognition that they'd moved beyond friendship.
And that night, it hits Ryan hard.
Oh, yeah. He can't sleep. Tossing, turning, the image of her face, her smile, the touch on her cheek, burned into his mind.
Replaying the tape.
His mind races, replaying specific vivid memories that previously seemed innocent, casual, but now they hold this new, potent meaning, charged with a different energy.
Like what?
He thinks about the way her hand brushed mine when we both reached for the same tool. Fleeting contact now feels electric.
Huh.
He recalls the way her laugh lingered after I told her that dumb story about Aaron falling asleep during an exam. Shared lightheartedness, now seen as deeper connection.
Reframing everything.
But most profoundly, he replays the way she had looked at me like she wasn't supposed to but couldn't help it. A stolen glance, now revealing itself as undeniable attraction.
Makes his internal experience so palpable. Draws you right in.
Exactly. His brain is retrospectively reframing these innocent events with this powerful new emotional lens.
And from that day on, they both know.
He recognizes this mutual awareness, an unspoken acknowledgement that they're both aware of the shifting ground, as the narrator says profoundly.
Yeah.
From that day on, we both knew something was happening, but we didn't name it. Not yet.
Unnamed thing.
The feeling was like standing at a cliff edge, toes curled over the drop, waiting to see if the other person would jump first, and neither of us had wings.
Wow, that's a powerful metaphor.
Captures the mutual fear, the anticipation, the unspoken desire hanging between them.
It's a profound hook, leaves you wondering if and when that jump would occur.
And what the consequences would be. The tension of possibility, stretched taut.
Okay, so the air has thickened, the shift has happened, they're standing at the cliff edge.
Right. The narrative now takes us to a Thursday evening. Another pivotal moment that would cement the shift.
Okay.
Aaron, Ryan's friend, Marissa's son, is blissfully unaware. Out with friends, maybe a bar crawl, trivia night. Completely removed from the quiet drama at home.
Conveniently absent again.
Ryan had come over earlier to help Marissa move some boxes from the attic. Just typical household stuff. Holiday decorations, old books, and some bins labeled Melanie's stuff, remnants of her daughter's past. They worked for about an hour, passing things down the narrow ladder.
Shared task again.
Yeah, and the atmosphere. Dust motes danced in the slanted sunlight from the tiny attic window. Creates this almost ethereal, hazy backdrop.
Intimate setting.
Afterward, work done, quiet satisfaction in the air. She pours them wine, a gesture of winding down.
Relaxing together.
They settle onto the living room floor, backs against the couch cushions, a sense of shared physical closeness emerging. Just sitting, sipping, laughing.
Comfortable.
And then there's this wonderful, truly human and funny interlude.
Oh, yeah.
One of the old boxes bursts open, spills ancient Halloween costumes onto the rug.
Okay.
Ryan, in this moment of pure, uninhibited ease, picks up a pointy, dusty witch's hat and puts it on.
Playful.
Marissa, got completely off guard, laughs so hard she snorts and covers her mouth, shoulders shaking with mirth.
Genuine connection. Real laughter.
It felt, as he describes it, with a touch of disbelief, easy, too easy. That feeling of effortless comfort where barriers dissolve. Hints at the depth.
That ease, though, it fades.
It does. Eventually, it fades into this quiet, yet profoundly serious conversation. This is where the emotional connection truly deepens, beyond laughter to shared vulnerability.
Okay. What do they talk about?
Much more than just the day's events. Music that moves them, past regrets, and profoundly how life often diverges wildly from youthful expectations.
Heavy themes.
And Ryan, in turn, opens up, reveals this deep-seated vulnerability. His mother passed away when he was only 6.
Oh.
And consequently, he never really knew her. Speaks to a fundamental void, an absence shaping his understanding of intimacy.
That's incredibly vulnerable.
And Marissa, in turn, shares this parallel, equally poignant pain. She talks about Aaron's dad.
What does she say?
It's heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
He used to be different, used to be home more, used to look at her like she mattered.
Oof. That hits hard.
Simple phrases encapsulating a profound loss, not just of a partner, but of connection, validation.
Yeah.
Her quiet, almost whispered observation. People drift. Sometimes you don't even notice until the space between you is too wide to fix.
Provides that deeper psychological why for her, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Suggests a fundamental loneliness, emotional neglect, an unfulfilled need in her primary relationship. A chasm Ryan was inadvertently starting to fill.
This shared narrative of loss. Death for him, emotional distance for her.
Creates this incredibly powerful intimacy, detailing the crossing of an emotional boundary, even before the physical one.
They're acknowledging deep, unaddressed needs, offering each other this rare, authentic solace.
And it's after this deep emotional resonance, this shared vulnerability, that the unspoken invitation occurs.
Okay. How?
Ryan describes looking at her, absorbing every detail. Her wine glass dangled from her fingers, half forgotten, a prop in their deepening connection. Her legs were folded beneath her, posture of relaxed comfort. and the soft lamp glow brought out the gold in her hair, illuminating her like an intimate portrait.
Setting the scene.
And then came the gaze, the direct, potent look transcending words. And then she looked at me. That look didn't last long, but it didn't need to.
Clear, undeniable, an electric current.
A silent dare.
And Ryan leans in.
Slowly, deliberately, giving her every chance to pull away. He was waiting to feel a pullback, a sign to stop. It never came.
That careful, almost reverent approach shows the weight of the moment.
Their lips met softly, just once, a hesitant brush. Then again, longer, deeper, mutual exploration.
Okay.
Marissa's hand moved up to the side of my face, fingers trailing my jaw like she was memorizing it. A gesture of profound tenderness, absorption. His own wine glass, forgotten, rolls gently onto the carpet. Small sound. He emphasizes there wasn't urgency, just something unspoken breaking the surface.
Not impulsive lust.
No. The coronation of shared vulnerability, long-simmering, unspoken longing, comfortable intimacy, finally, beautifully overflowing.
It's about two souls recognizing a profound connection.
Exactly. Waiting to express itself.
And the immediate consequence. The acknowledgement of the boundary crossed.
Comes right after the kiss. Marissa pulls back first, breath unsteady, a quiet gasp, realization of the weight. This is dangerous, she whispers.
A stark truth.
Words hanging heavy. Ryan's simple, unhesitating response, I know, confirms their shared understanding, mutual acceptance of the risk.
But they don't move away.
No. Despite the danger, the logical warning screaming in their minds, neither has moved away. They stay physically close, locked in the aftermath.
Lingering in the moment.
He doesn't go home until after midnight that night. Chooses to linger in this intoxicating new reality. And they didn't sleep together. Not then. But something shifted. Something cracked open, and we didn't close it. This raw, honest recounting leaves you with this palpable sense of the boundary irrevocably altered.
Powerful illustration of the heart overriding the mind, accepting the peril for the sake of connection.
So in the days following that transformative first kiss, Ryan describes this palpable tension.
Okay. What kind?
The quiet kind that sits in the room with you even when you're not speaking. Not awkwardness, not apprehension, but a charged atmosphere. A heightened awareness thrumming beneath the surface.
Always there.
He notes subtle, almost imperceptible changes in Marissa. She started wearing softer clothes, fabrics clinging more gently, enhancing her allure. Her perfume, a light floral scent he now recognized, lingered longer when she passed him.
Sensory details again.
And her fingers, once casually brushing his, would now brush his wrist just a second too long as he left. A micro gesture loaded with silent meaning.
A secret language developing.
Exactly. Tiny details, imperceptible to outsiders, speaking volumes to them.
And the first time they fully cross the line, beyond the kiss.
Happens about a week later, and his description is crucial. It wasn't clumsy or filled with immediate guilt or regret.
No. How did it feel?
He recounts that it felt in that moment like something both of us had needed for a long time.
Fulfilling a deeper need.
Exactly. Not just physical attraction driving them, but a deeper unmet emotional need being fulfilled. A profound yearning for connection, validation they found in each other.
Speaks to her loneliness, his need to be seen.
Right. However, the narrator immediately introduces this foreboding statement, a powerful hook.
Okay.
But as with all beautiful stolen things, it didn't come without a cost. Sets up that tension between the joy and the burden of secrecy.
The inevitable shadow.
And after that line was unequivocally crossed, things didn't spiral into chaos, surprisingly.
No.
No, they slipped into a rhythm that felt natural. Dangerous but natural.
Interesting. Not guilt or awkwardness.
No. They didn't talk much about the nature of the relationship, its implications, future. But their covert gestures, silent cues, spoke for them. An elaborate, unspoken dance.
Like what?
Marissa's hand finding his arm beneath the table during a casual family meal. A secret touch only they knew.
Wow.
Her smile, once polite, softening noticeably, becoming a private invitation when Aaron wasn't looking.
Little signals.
She even started leaving the back door unlocked sometimes. A quiet, almost dismissive gesture, telling him he could come by when it was quiet.
Like it was nothing.
Saying it like it was nothing, but they both knew better. A silent invitation into their shared secret world. A bubble they meticulously guarded.
And her house itself. It changes.
From Ryan's perspective, yes. It seemed to transform, reflect this new reality. Became an extension of their secret world. Felt lighter, slower, different energy.
How so?
Music always playing soft, slow stuff, like she needed something gentle in the background. A soothing soundtrack to their stolen moments. Atmosphere.
Marissa herself changed, shedding the practical attire of Aaron's mom for robes that barely clung to her frame, tied loose. Expression of newfound comfort, sensuality, and she'd smile from the kitchen when Ryan arrived. Warmth, welcome. As if this had always been our normal.
These details create that intimate, dreamlike bubble.
Absolutely. And this transformation reflects a psychological reawakening for Marissa, reclaiming her identity beyond her roles. In this clandestine space, she could just be.
With someone who saw her completely.
Authentically.
And within this private bubble, their intimacy deepened far beyond the physical.
Oh, yes. We never talked about the future, never used words like love, he recounts. Deliberate avoidance of labels that might destabilize their fragile present.
Yeah.
It wasn't that kind of thing. It was quiet, mature, something made between long silences and soft gasps in rooms that weren't meant for this.
Wow. Powerful description.
A love existing purely in the unspoken, stolen glances, shared breath, acknowledging its precarious nature while fully inhabiting its depth, forged in silence and vulnerability.
And the deepest emotional intimacy happened when?
Often in those quiet moments after they'd been physically intimate, lying in bed, maybe facing opposite directions, but still touching. A silent testament.
Huh.
Marissa would talk about her 20s, wanting to be a photojournalist, a dream never pursued.
Revealing past selves.
She spoke profoundly about how life changed, how no one really prepares you for what happens when people stop seeing you as a person and start only seeing the roles you fill. Mom, employee, housekeeper.
The feeling of being invisible.
Highlighting her longing to be seen, truly seen as an individual. It's that masked self struggling to emerge. And in Ryan, she found a space to reveal it.
And Ryan shared too.
Yes, his own deep-seated insecurity. Things unsaid for years. His dad's pervasive silence growing up, always feeling like he was waiting to become someone worth noticing. Yearning for validation. And in this truly powerful moment of mutual affirmation, Marissa reached across the sheets, fingers finding his hair, ran them through it, saying with quiet conviction,
Yeah.
You're already that.
Yeah.
As if it were the easiest truth in the world. Wow.
This segment just beautifully illustrates how a secret affair can create this intense, hyper-real bubble. The urgency compresses emotional development.
Vulnerability shared, deep connection formed.
Far beyond mere physical attraction. An almost therapeutic space where they could be authentic, fostering deep attachment, providing solace for hidden wounds.
Raises that critical question, though.
How much was about each other, and how much about fulfilling long unmet needs?
Right.
Okay, so they've established this dangerous but natural rhythm.
Yeah, and ironically, the narrator tells us the hardest part wasn't the deception or the risks, but it was how easy it became.
That effortless rhythm, that normalcy. It made them vulnerable.
Exactly, lulling them into a false sense of security.
And as their comfort grew, so did the risks and the need for caution.
Definitely. Ryan started slipping in during the early mornings, Aaron typically out running or asleep, meticulously calculating his arrival.
Hyper-vigilant.
He'd even park his car a few streets down just in case.
Oh.
A small, anxious gesture showing the heightened awareness of their precarious situation. Marissa would greet him in the hallway, hair damp from the shower, robe pulled snug, but still hinting at intimacy. They'd move around each other, like we'd done this 100 times.
Choreography of clandestine love.
But beneath it, that quiet hum of anxiety never truly faded.
That constant vigilance.
Yeah.
It takes a toll psychologically, adds to the cognitive load.
And maybe that ease, that comfort was what truly scared them both. A silent alarm bell they couldn't quite hear.
Because the external world eventually intrudes.
Always does. Aaron, Marissa's son, Ryan's friend, started being home more and more. His internship wrapped up. Suddenly, he was around every day. His presence changed everything.
The dynamic shifts completely.
The very air in the house felt different. The symbolic door to their secret world, once effortlessly open, still there. But Ryan stopped walking through it.
Is it change?
Become cautious. Shorter visits, no lingering, less talk, more tension, and not the good kind. The fabric of their secret intimacy starts to fray under Aaron's gaze.
And this shift from comfort to anxiety is conveyed how?
Through this vivid, almost visceral analogy, it felt like living under a roof with a leak you can't quite locate, just waiting for the drip to fall through and give you away.
Wow. That perfectly captures the constant insidious anxiety. the quiet dread of discovery.
Yeah.
And psychologically, that relentless, low-grade stress is incredibly draining. Transforms safe spaces into traps, simple sounds into threats. Their love bubble becomes a source of constant vigilance.
Then came a clear turning point, a silent notification of escalating danger.
Okay.
One afternoon, Ryan saw Aaron outside clearing the garage, shirtless, headphones in, oblivious.
Ryan noticed Aaron looks so much like his mom.
Oh, that resemblance.
Sharp jawline, same eyes, highlighting the stark impossibility of the situation. Ryan waved, Aaron waved back. Perfectly normal.
Surface normality. That night, Marissa didn't call. The next night, she didn't answer. Silence stretched, heavy with unspoken meaning, dread amplifying.
Waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Eventually, she texted him. Just one terse line. Devastating news. He's not going back to school next semester.
Oh, wow. So he's staying permanently.
Ryan didn't respond. Didn't need to. What was there to say? We both knew the risk had changed.
The game changed completely.
Before, they lived in a space just outside consequence, that bubble of immunity. Now, Aaron was always nearby. Every door creaked louder. Every shadow held teeth.
Powerful description of the new pervasive threat.
Yeah.
And psychologically, this isn't just logistical difficulty. The emotional landscape becomes hostile. The home, once a sanctuary, is now a minefield.
Their freedom extinguished.
Aaron's continued presence meant their intimacy transformed into pervasive fear. This section marks that significant shift in tension, illustrates how environment, practicalities, personified by Aaron, crush private connections.
Setting the stage for the unraveling.
The very essence of their bond, rooted in stolen moments, couldn't survive under constant scrutiny.
So the next time Ryan saw Marissa, the stolen nature felt different.
More urgent, more desperate than ever. A narrow window, snatched while Aaron was out getting groceries. Precious minutes feeling like hours. She opened the door, pulled him inside fast. Hurried, panicked movements, like even the walls might be listening.
Wow. Paranoia setting in.
They didn't speak much, didn't have to. Their kiss, once tender, was now urgent. Not romantic, just desperate. Like she needed to remember this was real, that it had happened.
A frantic grasp at what was disappearing.
Exactly. Afterward, the kiss finished, need somewhat quelled. He didn't move somewhere comfortable. Sat right there in the hallway, backs to the wall, knees pulled up, breathing in sync.
Shared distress hanging heavy.
Marissa whispered, voice tight, I hate this sneaking, this waiting. Ryan's simple, heavy agreement, I know, mirroring her pain. She rested her head on his shoulder, fleeting comfort, then added resignedly, we have to be more careful. But both knew, with chilling certainty.
Careful wasn't going to be enough.
The fear was no longer distant, it was palpable, a chilling presence.
And 2 weeks later, that fear becomes reality. They nearly get caught.
Harrowingly close. Ryan was helping Marissa replace a ceiling light in the laundry room. Innocent chore, calculated risk. Aaron's supposedly gone for a while, hardware store run. They thought they had time.
Okay.
Ryan's up on the ladder, screwdriver in hand, focus split between the task and Marissa below. When suddenly, Marissa gasps. Sharp, choked sound.
Sees something.
Through the front window, Aaron's car pulling unexpectedly into the driveway. He was back early. There was no time. The world stops.
Oh my God.
What followed? Frantic, adrenaline-fueled escape. Vivid, heart-pounding detail. Ryan scrambles down the ladder, wipes hands on a rag, bolts through the back door, heart in my throat.
Grunting.
Jogging along the side of the house, keeping low, ducks behind hedges just as Aaron, whistling, steps casually out of his car.
Did Aaron see him?
No, Aaron didn't see him. Just humming, carrying a bag of garden soil, absorbed in his own world, like it was just another sunny afternoon, like nothing was different.
Wow.
Like his mom hadn't kissed another man 10 minutes earlier. That jarring contrast for Ryan, his terror versus Aaron's oblivious normalcy, intensifies the danger, the emotional toll.
That near miss, it changes everything. Psychologically.
Oh, absolutely. A single intense, frightening experience like that can create a powerful fear memory, often leading to avoidance. This acted as a traumatic recalibration, fundamentally altered their perception of risk, sealed the relationship's fate.
Introduced a new, paralyzing layer of anxiety. The fun, stolen moments, overshadowed now by the constant, chilling threat of discovery.
So Ryan's crouching in the hedges.
Heart hammering, until Aaron's inside, door closes. Then, shaken, he walks away fast, adrenaline coursing.
Does Marissa call?
That night, yeah. Her voice brittle, stretched thin. I thought he'd be gone till 5, she says, desperately trying to explain away the near catastrophe.
And Ryan? Prized to offer comfort, a hollow, meaningless, it's okay. But he reflects, with painful clarity, it wasn't. We both felt it, the shift, the fear creeping in where the warmth used to live.
Irreversible. The shadow fell permanently.
And after that critical close call, the shift becomes undeniable, manifests in Marissa's gradual, careful withdrawal.
Not sudden.
No, not dramatic, confrontational, just gradually, carefully. Her texts, once frequent, laced with affection, shortened. Functional, less personal. Her voice on the phone lost its softness. Distant, almost formal. The long mornings disappeared. Those precious, stolen times just ceased.
The little touches stopped.
Stopped happening. She stopped reaching out first. Subtle, significant shift. When Ryan did, replies came slower, friendly, but distant. Polite, devoid of warmth.
And he didn't push.
No, sense the inevitable. Acknowledge the unspoken agreement to retreat. This mutual, unspoken withdrawal is common. Self-preservation against impossibility and pain.
So the external threat directly eroded the internal intimacy.
Precisely. The psychological burden of fear, the practical impossibility, finally overrode their longing.
So the narrative takes us to the last time Ryan really saw her, in that deeper, intimate way.
A quiet ending begins.
It was another seemingly casual interaction, another favor, ironically. Marissa handed him a jar of local honey from the farmer's market.
A simple gift. Symbolic.
Feels that way, imbued with quiet symbolism. Her fingers brushed his as she gave it to him. Familiar contact, but,
Different.
as he noted with a pang of understanding, it didn't feel like an invitation. It felt like a quiet ending.
Wow. A gesture of connection, but also farewell.
A bittersweet acknowledgement of what was and what couldn't be anymore.
And after that terrifying close call, everything just slowed down.
Exactly. Not dramatic, cinematic shouting or tears. Just a quiet unraveling. A slow, deliberate fade.
How did that look practically?
Stopped texting every day. The digital lifeline frayed, then broke. Ryan stopped visiting, unless Aaron was home.
Even then it felt different.
Thinner, lighter, like we were pretending it had never happened. A charade of friendship masking the profound intimacy that had flourished.
And the key.
The key under the mat, the silent invitation, was no longer there. Symbolic removal of access to their private world.
She stopped reaching out first.
He didn't press her. Sensed the inevitable. Acknowledged the unspoken agreement to retreat.
That mutual, unspoken withdrawal, a way to cope.
Life just began to return to its previous rhythm. Normalcy felt almost foreign, sterile after the intensity.
Vibrant colors faded.
Yeah. Some afternoons, Ryan would glimpse Marissa on the porch with Aaron, bringing in groceries, watering herbs, pictured of domestic tranquility.
And their interaction?
A polite wave, a nod, nothing more. Surface level. No hint of the connection they once shared. That was it, he reflects, and maybe that's all it was ever supposed to be.
Faded back into the quiet background. A hidden chapter.
And the narrator reflects on the most painful part of this quiet ending.
What was that?
It's deeply poignant. The worst part wasn't losing the moments or the kisses or the early mornings. It was losing the way she used to look at me like I was the one person in the room who saw her completely.
Being truly seen.
He explains what that meant. Not just Aaron's mom, not just someone holding it together, but Marissa. Bright, funny, worn thin, real.
For a fleeting time, he saw that authentic, unmasked version.
The one not performing a role. Now, at the end, he was just Ryan again, Aaron's friend, the guy who once helped with the raccoon.
Wow. That illustrates the profound loss of identity. Mutual recognition raises that important question. What is closure in relationships that can't be publicly acknowledged or mourned? They often leave this unique, enduring ache, a ghost of a self only seen by one other person.
There was no dramatic final moment, no tearful confession, just silence and time.
That lack of climax.
He reflects, with profound understanding, quiet endings are the ones that echo longest. The absence of a definitive breakup makes it more poignant, devastating in its own way.
Emphasizes the deep internal impact. A wound never quite healed because it was never truly acknowledged.
Unanswered questions lingered, unspoken, heavy with regret, longing.
They never asked.
Marissa never asked if Ryan missed her. He never asked if she thought about him. Those were the kinds of questions that demanded answers we couldn't afford. Answers complicating the careful silence.
Life just continued.
Relentlessly. Marissa stayed with Aaron. He was around more now, present, engaged, like the house had settled back into routine. Apparent return to normalcy.
And she seemed
content, maybe even happy. Ryan, from a distance, stopped trying to decipher it. As for him, started picking up extra shifts, work, Took weekend drives to nowhere.
Trying to move on.
Let his hair grow out, subtle rebellion. Made plans to leave the city the following year. Symbolic and literal departure from painful echoes. They don't talk anymore. The silence, a monument to their secret.
But sometimes the memory resurfaces.
A quiet, insistent echo. Sometimes Ryan passes her place. If the light's right, glimpses her reading by the window. Familiar, comforting sight.
And if she looks up.
When she glances up, eyes meeting his, just for a second, there's a barely there smile. A ghost of a smile passes between them.
Wow.
And in that fleeting, almost imperceptible exchange, he knows, I know she remembers too.
That shared, quiet understanding, despite the silence, the distance,
Serves as a final, bittersweet hook, a poignant testament to the indelible, lasting mark of their profound, hidden connection.
a secret held by two hearts forever echoing in the quiet spaces of their lives.
So we've journeyed through this incredibly intimate, emotionally complex narrative today.
We really have, beginning with that unexpected raccoon encounter, an accidental yet profound catalyst.
Right. From that absurd start, we trace the gradual weaving of unspoken bonds, the transformative moment of a shared touch.
And the crossing of that undeniable line, we then saw how that beautiful, dangerous rhythm emerged, driven by shared vulnerabilities.
Before external pressures, specifically Aaron's presence, ignited that gathering storm of fear.
Which ultimately led to the near miss, the retreat, and finally that quiet, poignant unraveling.
We've seen how seemingly small, mundane moments can ignite a deep connection,
How raw vulnerability fosters an almost hyper-real intimacy.
and how external pressures, like the unexpected, unyielding presence of a son, can force even the most compelling secrets to unravel.
Leaving those quiet, bittersweet echoes in their wake.
This deep dive in such a profoundly personal story, it really reminds us of the hidden complexities in human relationships, the profound needs that can drive unconventional connections, the quiet sacrifices made for another reality.
And the bittersweet echo of moments that reshape us, even if they remain unspoken to the world.
It's such a powerful illustration of how people can truly see each other beyond their perceived roles.
Beyond the labels of mom or friend's son, recognizing that authentic, unmasked self.
And it poses that challenging question. What happens when that unique, validating vision must tragically be sacrificed?
Sacrificed for the sake of another, more publicly acceptable reality. The story of Ryan and Marissa is a testament to the quiet yet profound power of such connections. So as you reflect on Ryan and Marissa's story, maybe consider this. How many profound, transformative connections truly exist just beneath the surface of everyday life?
Unspoken, unacknowledged.
Hidden from the world, yet leaving an indelible, quiet mark on those who experience them.
Yeah.
And what does it really mean to carry the weight of such beautiful, stolen memories, not just for a fleeting moment, but long after the silence falls and life just moves on?